Hello friends, welcome to our channel CareersTalk. I'm Shwan Sharma, a senior consultant from Netherlands, and here on CareersTalk we invite Agilists to share their real-life interview experiences. And this is the fifth part of our series with Apoorva. We have received 5 job offers from different multinational companies, and you can find the link of all those parts in the description below. You can check them later on. And friends, if you want to connect with me or to join our WhatsApp community, please check the description or the about section on our channel. You will get all the details. And before we start, small request: if you are new to our channel, please subscribe. We have tons of valuable content for all of you scrum masters, agilists. And if you enjoy this session, if you find something knowledgeable, valuable, please smash that like button. So without further delay, let's dive in. Thank you, Apoorva, one more time. Apoorva, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Anand.
Okay, so shall we start without wasting more time?
Sure, definitely.
Okay. So the question is that during your estimation session, right, there are significant disagreement among the team members about the complexity of a user story, and that leads to a long discussions, and there is a lot of delays, and a lot of things are happening. So, how would you facilitate these sessions to reach an agreement, Apoorva?
Okay. So I would take a very structured approach in this case. There are a couple of attributes which you will have to consider while saying if some story is complex or not. So let's discuss one by one. The first one is the size. Discuss with your team on the amount of effort it would take to implement a particular story. So in terms of hours or story points, however you are estimating it. And at this point, when we are deciding the complexity of a story, I don't want so many story points or so many hours. I'll say on a scale of 1 to 5. If it is a very simple story, you'll be able to do in a couple of hours, give it a 1. If it's going to take days together, give it a 5. Either they can come to a consensus and give one number, or if they're not ready to come to a consensus, each of them can give a number, and you will get a average of the value and round it up to the nearest number, 1 to 5. Next is clarity. How well understood is this particular user story? Are there gray areas where the team will have to do a POC or just play around and find out how they have to implement it? Or is it very straight through? Everybody knows what is to be done. How is the clarity? 1 being lowest clarity and 5 being highest clarity. Next is on the dependencies. Identify what are the stories dependencies. Either they may have a dependency on another story in the same sprint. Without that, they can't do this if it is that way. Or totally a different team, a third party. They need some particular types of data from the database, whatever kind of dependency. They'll have to let us know what is the dependency level in this particular story. 1 being least dependent, 5 being most dependent. Next is the experience of the team. Experience is not just a number of years. As we all know in the software industry, a guy who is just 3 years experienced may be the most valuable asset to this team. So for that particular technology, in that domain, in this project, what is the experience overall as a team? Do they know each other? Do they know the skills well, or they're playing around with it? So that I think they should be able to tell. They know what they are, right? So experience, if it is lower experience, give it as 1, or high experience, give it a 5. Next is risks. Identify any risk, potential risk which is associated with this story. People going on vacation, or some may say, I'm not sure, maybe I may take 3 to 4 days leave. My granny is not well. If she's really going to go bad, then I'll need holiday. I don't know. And any security concerns are there, or any technical debts are there, which also you will have to fix as part of this story. Anything like that, any risk. 1 giving lowest risk for this story, and 5 being highest risk. And now we have found all the 5. I'll just summarize all of them. First is size, clarity of the story, dependency, experience, and risk. So all the 5 together, the maximum value the team can give is 5 for all. So that is a 25. So you give, you do the division. If they are coming up with a value, say 18, You do 18 by 25. How much would be an 18 by 25? It's around 72%, 0.72, that into 100 is 72%. So if your value, what you have got, is between 0 to 20%, I would consider it as a very low complexity story. Low complexity is between 21 to 40%. Medium complexity, 40 to 60%. High is 60 to 80%, and very high complexity is above 80%. See, here we got 74% means it is a high complexity story. So there is, since we have granularly divided based on the various factors which is important for the particular story, then if we are coming up with complexity using this model, I don't think any of the team members will have a problem with whatever comes up from this model. So that's my take on this.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Apoorva, for that. Okay. Let's move on. So let's say you, as a Scrum Master, you observe a decline in your team morale, and the productivity matrices are also showing that it's a downturn. So how do you use these matrices to find the root cause, to diagnose the issue? What steps would you like to take to improve the team morale and the productivity? Apoorva?
Okay. So to improve productivity, first I would like to give more weightage and reward quality over quantity. There may be a guy who comes in at 8 and sits in office till 10. But whatever deliveries he's doing may be getting a lot of bugs, or customers are not happy with whatever he delivers. With respect to another person who is working smart, or he has more experience in that technology, he just spends, he comes in proper time by around 10 o'clock and leaves by 5, and he's able to complete it. So many people, what they would do is, this guy is not working enough, he's just going away. So I would like to say that I would like to reward quality over quantity. I don't care, boss, how long you're going to stay in office. Do a quality work, do everything that is assigned to you. And if you are doing it well before time, you're free to go. I am not going to give you extra work. So if that they get it in their mind, they will, that you're going to reward their quality of delivery, that is definitely going to improve productivity. And you may say that if you're going to let this guy go soon, then what will we do? How are we going to help it? With time, everybody starts doing it. Everybody starts finishing their stories faster. Then you can probably step up the game a little. You can ask them to target for a little more story points at the sprint goal level. So that way, as a whole team, if you're doing it, they'll be okay. One-on-one person, if you're doing, okay, boss, if I complete this fast, again, she'll assign one more story. So what is the point? I don't want to do it fast. The second one is monitor the progress of any story very closely in every stand-up. Personally, what I do is, many teams might be using Jira. When a person picks up a story, we know the effort estimate is anyway there. From a schedule perspective, I'll ask, okay, you're taking it up today. When are you planning to complete it? Today is June 1st. If he says it's a high complex story, I will be completing it by June 5th. I'll be adding that date due by June 5th on that card. So it keeps flashing there every time we are talking about the card. So every day when he's giving updates, when it is around 3rd or 4th of June, I'll start asking him, so tomorrow is the due date for this. Are you good to go? Or do you have blockers? Or if he wants to push it by a day or two, why? We'll have to add comments on that. So when you make them accountable for a particular thing, then monitoring becomes easy for us also. Nothing will come as a surprise. And for them also, they will be able to give substantial reasons if they need more time. The third one is to create a healthy working environment. You have to make them feel that it's okay to take a break. You're going a slightly longer lunch break. It's okay if you're doing your work. They shouldn't feel like, oh, the scrum master coming or the manager is coming, come, I'm hired, we'll start working fast. That kind of facade we don't want. Agile has always propagated transparency, right? So it's okay. They are working. They're also humans. Let them take their breaks. And today, for some reason, 1 week, if they have worked very hard, late nights and things for some release or delivery, next week, if they're going home early or checking in late, it's okay. You can give them that leeway. So they should be having that comfort feeling in their mind that you're not too strong on them. Whenever you want, you'll ask them to work late. Whenever they're coming late, you are saying about rules, that will not work. So that kind of healthy working environment they should have. And identifying the strengths and weaknesses of the team members. We already spoke in our previous session on how to identify some a team member's strength or weakness. Once we have identified, I think we should give them tasks which they enjoy doing. Say like some person loves documentation over bug debugging. Give him some documentation work like some DOR, making those Excels, making the people to fill it. Whatever those kind of works are there, give it to him. He'll do a better job than somebody who loves like solving high pressure 7 bugs. He gets that kind of triumph when he finishes it within the SLA, and that gives him that kind of jolt. So those kind of work you give to that person only. So when you give people the work they enjoy, definitely productivity will improve. Then transparent communication is definitely very important. If they are feeling something is difficult or if they have a problem with something, they shouldn't hesitate to come and tell you often. It's a secondary thing whether you can really help them with it or not. If it's a senior senior management thing, you really can't do anything about it. It's a different thing. But they should not hesitate to come and tell you that this person will go and pit me against them. It will go bad in my appraisal. No, they should all think you that you are also part of the team. They can talk to you openly. And last thing I would like to tell them is something called a North Star metric. We are collecting n number of metrics, you do whatever you want. But what is the final goal that has to be in everybody's mind? If it is, maybe it can be CSAT. At the end of the release, all of us have to ensure that we have a customer satisfaction more than 90%. So do anything in your control to make that happen. So giving them a final goal will give them clarity. Or in cases of some change management, reduce the lead time. Last time the lead time was 3 months. Do whatever you want. Reduce the lead time. So at the end of it, we will see if it has come down to 2 months or 2.5 months. So that is the North Star metric. So that will give team the clarity on what they have to concentrate on. As part of your appraisal discussion or any one-on-one, you keep telling you do this also, that also, this you're not doing well, this you're not, they're not sure. Like it's same like kids. When you're disciplining kids at home, you say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Which one is actually important? They don't know. So prioritize what they have to actually work on. So that is what I would do to, these steps will help us to improve productivity. And coming to team morale, having one-on-one and encouraging them to talk about how their days are recently, if it is too stressful, are they concerned on a promotion which is getting delayed, their leaves are not getting approved on time, there's no exciting work, or they're not getting recognized, they're feeling cheated, whatever it is. Sometimes you may not be really in a position to get them a promotion. But if you allow them to talk, if you allow them to vent it out, it is like a chimney. Once it comes out, the pressure is out. And even from our perspective, whenever you're talking to the managers and the senior leads, you know that who is actually pending for promotion, how important he is for the team, so that you can definitely put in your recommendation saying that this person will leave if you keep not giving him what he deserves for a long time. So that is the point you will get out of that discussion. And I think team building activities, I think, will be happening in most teams, like team lunch, going out, ethnic day, birthday celebrations. This will bond the team more closely rather than just talking over the calls only about the project. And I think that is also one reason most companies are asking us to come back to office now. When we are talking on the phone like this, we'll just discuss about the problem and keep it down. But when you're going for lunch together at office, you're talking about your kids, you're talking about your spouse, anything at home. So that will give that bonding. So when you have that personal bond, next time on an official front, you go back to that person asking for a help, the way he treats you will be different. So that is one. And the team should feel that they can confide in you. That's what I already said. And you can also ask them about their personal well-being. It's not like we are all zombies just going to do some work and come back. All of us will get our salaries. That is there. But you can always be empathetic about a person's personal problem. Somebody may not be well at home. Somebody may not be doing well in his family. He may be feeling left out. Whatever it is, you can also be open to talk about their personal life. personally, in our team, what we are doing little differently is every Friday we are having a yoga session where you do stretching exercises all in the team, so that one, it will help you with all this RSI kind of injuries, because of our continuously working on the computer, and each of them are doing it in all different ways. It is looking funny. We are all laughing with each other. So it's kind of a good team building exercise for us.
Wonderful, Apoorva. Thank you for that. Great. Let's move on. Okay. So your product owner sets a sprint goal that your team feel is unrealistic, or let's say misaligned with the current progress on the product roadmap. So how would you work on this kind of disagreement to ensure that the sprint goal is both achievable and valuable? Yeah.
Okay. So they are setting unrealistic sprint goals. So you will have to see, like, from the senior management, will always be getting a guidance once in a month, 3 months, quarterly meetings. We have, like, this particular product has to go live by the end of this year and things like that. So when that is the case, entire team will know like where we are heading towards. And if the sprint goal is not, if you feel or if the team feels is not in the same direction, like there is a release 1 in September and we are all working towards it, but the product owner tells you that you have to work on this, it's not there in the release 1, I know, but it is a very important feature. So please, can you go ahead and do this? So that's a fixie kind of situation, what you have to do. If you, as a technical person, you'll have to see it from a technical angle. If he's coming somewhere from the security perspective, which may not be actually part of this, or if he's coming from a very important business functionality perspective, maybe we have to take it in. But if it is just an additional extra tab is there, we'll add the additional beneficiaries tab also this time. If that kind of situation is coming in, maybe we'll have to go back to business. You can say that this is not part of release 1, so we are not sure what we have to do. Maybe we can have a discussion with the architects, senior management, or business, and then come back to taking it. But by far, what I see is normally when they want to do something like they themselves will go back to the business or senior management, they'll take an approval, then only come to the dev team. It will normally not be the reverse approach as I have seen. But in case sometimes if they have not got a approval from their senior management, they may try to push it in through you somehow to get it through if they personally feel it's required. So, but I always feel that because of this, if you're not able to do something which has to be delivered in release 1, then you will be at stake. Then definitely you will get questions that why did you take up that? Did anybody give you approval and all those kinds of questions? So if they are trying to push something which is not aligning with the business goal, we have to go back to business and the senior management, come to a consensus again, and then take it going forward. That's the mantra everywhere. You have to come to a consensus and do it. Doing all alone, going behind somebody's back, trying to conceal something, that's always a no-no.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let's move on. So there's a scenario. Let's say your two developers, they have a different opinion on a code quality, right? They are using different standards. So there is a tension with respect to the code reviews and all those things. So how would you resolve these kind of conflicts? So how you ensure that there is a clear
Okay.
code
Two
quality standard?
developers.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, your voice is breaking, Sunil.
Am I audible now?
Give me a second. Yes, your audio connection. One second.
Yeah. You can
Able to hear me now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is like two developers are having a different opinion on a code quality standards, and there is a lot of tension which is there within the team with respect to that code review thing. So how do you resolve this conflict? How do you make sure that you establish a clear code quality standards that is accepted by all the team members? Yeah, Apoorva.
Okay. So first, when two people are having a conflict on this kind of an approach, both of them are in the same working domain, like both are developers or both are testers. When it comes to that, what I would do is first try to find the root cause of the problem. Sometimes it's not like somebody is really worried about that particular coding standard at all. Is it like they have a personal issue behind the scene, or yeah, are they both on the same seniority level fighting for a promotion, trying to put the other down? It could be certain cases. Everybody wants to grow higher, right? So you want to show in some way that you are superior. It could be that, or just an ego clash. Is it something else other than the actual technical thing what they're discussing from their previous, the way they have been dealing with each other, those kind of things? And through other team members you can find out if there's anything like that. If it comes to that, then the entire discussion will change. It's about conflict management, getting to these people, getting them on common ground and things like that. But if there's no such thing and they just individually feel that this coding standard has to be implemented or this is not required for some reason, then what I would do is talk to each of them separately first, understand their points of view, what they feel is very valuable in this case, and why they are not agreeing to the other person, what they think will go wrong if they do the other thing with both people. And thirdly, next I will also, after taking their inputs, I'll go to a tech lead or an architect, a senior member who knows about the project, and ask their expertise or advice on this matter, that these two developers are feeling this way. How do you think we should go about it? Once I get all these things from all the three people, another thing which is very important is go through your contractual obligation. Nowadays, the contracts are so huge and so elaborate. Sometimes there will be written that these coding standards you have to follow as part of contractual obligation. Otherwise, you will be inviting a penalty. So if there is anything like that, there is no question about not adhering to it at all. So that has to be adhered to. So doing all this background, I will bring the entire team to a table, to a discussion, and give them whatever are my findings, whatever the expert has said, whatever is in the contract. And based on that, they can have a healthy discussion. Again, the expert is also there, and come to a consensus and come up with a proper coding checklist, which is acceptable to all. So going forward, any code reviews will happen only on basis of this coding checklist. Their personal feelings are not to be brought in here. So if the coding has been done as per this coding checklist or no, that's all. And to make things more easier, if you are using a static code analysis tool like SonarQube or something, you can get this all the coding standards fed into it, so that itself will give you what is missing or what is not proper. So that way we can mitigate this kind of conflict.
Thank you, Apoorva, for that. Okay, let's move on. So we have one more question on PO. So let's say your product owner wants to allocate certain team members a few high priority tasks outside of the sprint, but the team believes that this will endanger or they put at risk the sprint goal. So how would you mediate this situation, to find a balance solution between a PO and your developers?
Okay. First, before they assign anything to the developers or pull out people from my team, I would go back to the PO and ask what is that extra urgent task that has come up. If we are, say, in a 2-week sprint, we are already 1 week down. Can't that urgent task wait for just 1 more week, so that we can prioritize that only for the next sprint if it is aligning with our business goals? So if they're saying it is so urgent in that 1 week only it has to happen, then we have to do a trade-off. It's not like we don't want the team to get separated or bifurcated. That will really, it'll be harmful for the fabric of the team. So I'll probably ask them to remove some stories which are lesser on priority and add these stories. And again, telling them what would be the consequences, the risks of not meeting the sprint goal and things like that. And if it is a one-time case thing, then we can assign some developers who are quick in development or seniors who can quickly finish that and get on with this. But as far as possible, we as a team should try to avoid this addition of moving people to other teams. This is not a good agile practice, is what I feel.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, let's move on. This is a little bit interesting and different. That let's say your CI/CD pipeline automation deployment is failing due to, for example, misconfiguration. So how would you, along with your team, troubleshoot these kind of issues and resolve these kind of issues?
Okay. So CI/CD pipelines are always configured and designed so that our work becomes easier and we have the best quality of code getting merged into the mainstream without much of time delay. But when these CI/CD pipelines were initially thought of and it was coming to life, the security part of it was not so much of a concern at that point. Nobody gave it a lot of thought on somebody might tap the security at that point. They wanted things to work easily. But because of that, there are a lot of cyber attackers who have taken advantage of this, and they are targeting the security vulnerabilities in your code which has not been addressed, and they're trying to hijack important confidential data from your CI/CD pipeline itself. So one common practice now some developers are have started to use is they do a lockdown of certain part of the code where they see some irregularities, and the CI/CD pipeline is happening when it is in active condition. If they see something which is out of ordinary, something is not right, then they have logic such that that part of the code itself gets blocked. That pipeline will break, that's okay, but at least you are avoiding the valuable data to get hijacked. The other one option is like they are bringing up some certain things like the entire CI/CD pipeline is always under monitoring when it is active. So whenever some irregularity like this happens, it will flash you a message that something has happened about the pipeline or anything like that. So that's about the security vulnerability perspective. The other problem which we may face is on the performance issues. If there are people who have not adhered to coding standards, or you don't have a static code analysis tool, it's just the manual coding review that has happened. And with time, not just one check-in, multiple check-ins like this happen, the technical debt will get heaped up on the system without your knowledge. It's not like somebody had taken a shortcut or they had wantingly avoided certain things, but people may not know why it is starting to accumulate like that. So some teams, what they're doing is they're mandating performance testing and load testing before they actually check in something through the CI/CD pipeline now. That is one option. And flawed automation testing. Normally, we have the static code analysis tool and the automated tool plugged into your CI/CD pipeline so that both of them run, and only after there's no issue, it will pass through and merge the code to the main pipeline. Sometimes what may happen is in the automation test suite, it may be written long back and it's not maintained. So they may have a lot of enhancements and CRs may have happened after that, and those conditions are not captured in your test suite. So easily it has passed through, even if they have some corner cases and defects. Or one few things what happens is, especially when there are deadlines and all, even if your static code analysis tool gives you errors and code smells, whoever is checking it in, they suppress it and go ahead with the build. Because of various reasons, you can't blame them. They may be in a very bad position to push it through. But suppressing the warnings of the system and going ahead with the integration is definitely not a recommended approach, which will definitely hit you back at some point in time. And the last one is version control. Whenever a CI/CD pipeline is built in a team, you would be using different kinds of resources, processes, components, and all. And at that point, you would have taken the most stable version of that component at that point. When later releases come, you after upgrading to the latest release, you may end up finding out that it is not compatible with the other devices. That will actually break your CI/CD pipeline, or it might misconfigure it, leading to lot much more rework. So what is normally suggested is you go for the latest stable build, not the latest build. Go for the latest stable build, and do all kinds of testing before you take in the build. And there may be cases like this auto updates to the latest version. Try and suppress it and remove it for most of your components unless you're not allowed to take it out or anything like that. So sometimes today it's working, tomorrow morning you come and see it's not working. The auto update would have updated to something which was not desired by you. So with these things, with these steps, you can probably avoid the CI/CD pipelines from breaking.
Wonderful, Purva. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on. So next question is, let's say you notice a pattern, a consistent pattern of task dependencies that cause a delay in your sprint execution. So how would you identify, and most importantly, how are you going to mitigate these dependencies to improve your sprint more efficiently? Purva?
Okay. This was a personal my team issue about 2-3 months back, which is kind of we have brought it under control now. Ours was a UI team where we had to build the UI part of the application, and we were consuming certain microservices, which is the middle layer, which fetches data from the core database and passes it on to our UI. So for any feature or any screen to start working normally, we definitely need the service integration. What normally used to happen is earlier we didn't check their schedules when they are giving it. We assume that it'll be ready. That was the plan actually. First, the microservice team will develop everything for 6 months. After that, we will pick up and go ahead and do the integration. But in due course of time, it didn't go like that. They got other priorities. They had to work on other projects. Many things were not ready by the time we picked it up. So what we did in that current, we are working on SAFe. So we are doing the program increments. So in that program increment, that is for 3 months, in all the sprints, we just created the prototypes. The front end wireframe alone we created and kept it. But the learning was from the next PI onwards, we will not take anything until we ensure the service is ready. So we got the schedule for the service team for the next PI, and depending on their dates, we used to plan whatever they would have planned in the first two sprints, we will plan in the third and fourth sprint of our PI so that it is ready and only we have to consume it. Even after that, we tried that. Maybe they were in, they had a lot of people attrition in their team. Some were contractors who left. Because of that, the quality of the services were really bad. So any service you pick, we had like a lot of blocker bugs, which we could not go ahead at all with. So again, for that, we had to brainstorm what to do again. We were again stuck. So what the tech lead did is using a tool called Postman, he just started creating a virtual thing where he can consume the service and see what output it is giving. And even in some cases, the attributes they were passing and what we needed were very different. So he does a toll gate kind of check. Once they say it is ready, he will do the toll gate check. And then only if he feels it is ready, he will pass it on to the dev team. So that both of these steps really helped us to do better in terms of planning, execution, and avoiding wait time and dependencies with that particular team. Now it is kind of stable, but even now, whenever we get some issues, we are trying to mediate our way through it. If there is we need 6 attributes in the service, it's giving us only 3. The other two aren't coming. You can't say it's not a blocker. You can't say this feature is complete without that. But are you really blocked? Is the application failing? It's not that way also. So what we are doing, we are separating those 2 attributes to a separate story, picking it at a later point, and just completing the story at this point in time, whatever is coming through. So that way we are able to solve this dependency kind of problem. There are, each case is different dependencies you'll have to handle differently, but this is something very recently we've been handling, so I felt it's easier to portray.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Purva, for sharing your personal experience. Great. Let's move on to the next one. So let's say your team is struggling with maintaining a sustainable pace due to high level of stress and burnout. There are a lot of things which is happening on your project. So how would you address this kind of issues, to promote a healthier work environment and to ensure that the team is more productive. So yeah.
Healthier and more productivity. So what I would check on the team is first check one on one, or like there are some things like which everybody in the team knows, like if there's a release and some things haven't gone well, everybody is burning out to complete it. So that is a place where there's high stress level and working longer hours, and even when you get home you're stressed, irritated, and trying feeling like burning out. So in such a situation, one, definitely I'll try to talk to the senior management, try to reduce the scope of the release. If none of those work, at least you get a deadline from the senior management. But when is this stressful situation going to end? When is the release date? After that, the team can relax. So when you are at least giving a deadline to the team members, they feel okay. After this day, at least I can be happy. It's like these board exams for kids. They know the last exam day, after that they're happy. For that level, they're ready to put in that extra effort. So without knowing a deadline, you go on and on and on is not going to work for anybody. So that is one. And secondly, you can also discuss with the team why it is becoming so stressful. Why is it things are not moving as planned? Because during the sprint planning, maybe things are looking okay, but during the sprint, it's becoming very stressful. Maybe they'll say that some seniors or a PO are adding new stories to you and all. They're not able to say no. That is the art of saying no is extremely important for anybody. Just don't pick it up just because they have authority or above you. Just bring it to us. As a scrum master, it's my responsibility to ensure that my team is not getting burnt out or overburdened with things that they had not committed to. So the art of saying no, you can teach them. And always from the stress perspective, you can always try to help them with corporate yoga sessions or physical burnout. When you do a physical activity, whatever stress is there, it gets burnt out in terms of sweat. When your heart beats fast, you can try those kind of techniques. So it is always a difficult situation. It's very easy to talk. When somebody is going through that, only he will know. Anything you say, it's just going on deaf ears. So all you can try is to do and support him, and more than anything else, take the learning from that hard phase and try and ensure you avoid it in the next coming months. That's all we can say.
Great, Apoorva. And just to add to our audience that we have done one session on stress management specifically for IT team members. I'm not sure whether that session will be aired before this session or after this session. There is one of my friend. She is a project manager, but then she also conduct a lot of this stress management workshop for specifically for IT people. So if you've not seen that video and if it's that published before this, so please go and watch it. And I just want to summarize, or I just want to add few things here and there, that uh, as a scrum master, or as a people who are into that leadership kind of role, we should evaluate the workload to identify if the tasks are evenly distributed or if some team members are overburdened. Sometime it happen that our the most of the burden is on our star player Virat Kohli most of the time. So do not do that. Evenly distribute the task. Allow some flexible work hour, as you also mentioned, right? Let them schedule their work hours, encourage or mandate regular breaks during the work day, apart from their lunch breaks and all. And of course you can promote taking a vacation days out, and there are a lot of now policies from lot of companies that you have to take these many mandatory holidays. So those are the things I think that will also going to help. If you are having too much commute, maybe you can do a work from home, let's say 2 days or 3 days in a week, something like that. Provide that kind of support. There are, as you mentioned, there are a lot of nowadays mental health workshops and training which are provided by different team members or the organization. Stress management, time management, so all these things are important. The lastly I just want to add that set the realistic goal. Stress will come when we have goals which are unrealistic deadlines, right? Set the clear achievable goals and avoid setting unrealistic deadlines. Be flexible adjust goal based on your team capacity, right? Promote that work-life balance, create that kind of boundaries between the work and the personal life, right? And yeah, I think these are the few more things which I just want to add. Great, Apoorva. So I think we came to our this session as well. So thanks, Apoorva, one more time, and thanks, friend, for being with us today. We hope that you found this session useful and interesting and knowledgeable. And if you like this session, please remember to give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to having you in our next session. With this, thank you, Apoorva, one more time.
Thank
Goodbye,
you.
everyone. Thank you.